So I just want to make this little note. Later in this episode, I'm going to talk about how cool Arnold looks in a leather jacket. And I just want to make a clear delineation between leather jacket, which ends at the waist, and leather duster, which is a long coat, like Trinity or Neo in The Matrix or Wesley Snipes in Blade. All of them wear leather pants and leather dusters and look very cool, but I think it's harder to look cool in a leather jacket, so I'm making a very specific delineation between the two, and also I definitely forgot about all three of those people when I was gushing about Arnold, and now I'm justifying it after the fact. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am the birthday boy, Tripp Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and with me, as always, is a man who has always said that there's no fate but what we make for ourselves, the Macho Mandrew.
Andrew Lano. Yes, I'm always that deep.
And we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of one of my childhood favorites, Terminator 2, which, yes, did come out in 1992. We are aware. We changed the rules. Check the history. This is all okay now.
Yeah.
For a movie that we were talking about this a little bit off air, is, I think, like a pretty hard delineation point between it's the 90s now, baby. Which is
this is a 90s movie.
Yes, I think like a real hard line of between the eras, but still I think it will be a lot of fun to talk about and marvel at some of. But all that said, we watched Terminator 2: Judgment Day, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We gotta go dissect the 80s. It's your sequel that's better than the original. Someone's got about your sequel that's better than the original.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott.
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
So I always have felt that way, but I have heard a lot of people talking lately that may not be true, and I'm not sure. I haven't revisited Terminator in a long time, but having watched this now, I can see why people might feel that way, because I like this movie. I still like this movie. I loved this movie when I was 10 and 12.
You did. What year? How old were you when you were Terminator for Halloween?
It was fourth grade.
And we bought the officially licensed plastic. Plastic. I was gonna say silicone or rubber.
No, it was plastic.
Oh, it was.
It was. No, it was plastic, and then it had a putty for the border, but it was a Phantom of the Opera mask, plastic.
Oh, okay.
Plastic. Yeah. The officially licensed half face. So you it was very much a Phantom of the Opera mask, which you put on. I actually just saw Phantom of the Opera for the first time, and I was texting you a lot about this. All of the iconography for the Phantom mask is forehead, both eyes, and down both cheeks with just the mouth exposed. But the Phantom mask he actually wears is half
is the left half or right half. I don't remember which half, but it's just a half of the face.
Yeah. My instinct is to put my right hand over my face, so that is what I think, but I don't remember. Yeah. So it was this plastic mask with a rubber band, and then you had it came with this putty, and you would cover the seam where it connected to your face, which for most children would probably be great, but when you're a little sweaty boy,
that scar wax probably did nothing for you.
Did not work well, and the rubber band kept snapping, and so I kept tying it, making it tighter and tighter and tighter until it was just smooshed into my face to the point where it was painful. And then the last time it broke, I was like, well, I'm just the Terminator without the mask now.
It broke while we were trick or treating?
Yes, yeah. You weren't with me. I was just with my friends. I'm pretty sure.
In fourth grade?
Yeah. Well, so. I feel
I guess I would have been preschool then.
Right. So yeah, you would have been before kindergarten. So I think
my witch year.
Yeah. So it could very well have been we had a neighborhood that kids free roam trick or treated pretty young, and I think I would have been about 10. I'm not sure how old you are in fourth grade.
You're +6.
Okay.
So 10.
Okay. So right around there, either about to be 10 or about to be 11. Either way. probably old enough to do it, but my memory is returning to the house multiple times to try to fix it, and my friends being like, dude, you are seriously cutting into our candy consumption or candy acquisition time. Being like, yeah, okay. So then I was just kid with slick back hair carrying a gun in a leather jacket, which is like, I guess basically Arnold. I should have had some sunglasses.
Sunglasses would have sold it.
Yeah, would have been there. But I just kept breaking and breaking. It looked awesome in the one picture of it that exists. Like, it looks very, very cool. Unfortunately, our parents just moved, so that picture is probably quite difficult to track down. So maybe one day I'll post a picture of it, but don't expect it anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where the Halloweens were.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be easy to obtain in the short term, but eventually I will post that picture. But yeah, I loved this movie when I was a kid. Watched it obsessively, and in hindsight, like watching it back, like it's pretty fine for a kid. Like, this movie has some blood, but really no gore.
Yeah, it's mostly just a very violent movie. Like, it's not gory, but it is just a very baseline violent movie.
Oh, it's extremely violent. Yeah, every second of this movie is violent. And actually, upon rewatching it, plus the other factor is, as a 10-year-old, the main character of this movie is a 10-year-old, which works great if you're 10. Like, that makes movies amazing.
It is very weird that James Cameron made that choice.
Yes,
knowing who he is as like a director, it's very weird that he was like, "What if I wrote a 10-year-old to carry the weight of my movie?"
It does feel like a studio note, but I have found no evidence for that being the case.
Mm-mm. Honestly, like I Edward Furlong is a very competent young actor. We don't say that a lot on the show.
Yeah,
his arc is the worst part of the movie.
Yeah, and the thing of it is like the character he's being asked to play is a shitty kid. Like, John Connor is a little shit. That is how you describe him. So he's doing a great job, but the character is annoying.
Exactly. You know? I think he's doing great. That this character didn't need to be doing everything he was doing.
Yeah, I agree. And the hacking part is like just comical. The two hacking sequences, I'm just like, what is this? This is too much computer magic, Jim. Calm down.
Well, it's when I forget that they bring it back later, and I was like, isn't he a Terminator? Like,
right?
Isn't he a very strong metal man?
He's also a computer. You'd think he could just like plug his thumb into the thing and go like,
he's R2-D2?
Yes, he's a computer.
Well, that's the plot in the third one, which I watched for the first time last night. Because this movie ends and I was like, oh, this is a very like neatly wrapped up like. How are there 4 sequels after this? Like, it seems like they did it.
Money, baby.
But obviously that. But like story wise, I was like, how did they explain this? So I was like, hang on. T3 is on Netflix as well. Last day to watch this is February 28th. So rush and watch now.
Get on it.
And the answer is they don't explain it.
No.
He's like, I thought we stopped this. And he's like, you delayed it. Judgment Day is inevitable. And I was like, okay, but like, how?
So I agree with you. That's nonsense. But it does feel accurate, right? The idea like, oh, Judgment Day is just going to happen. It does make sense.
It is going to happen. I'm aware of that. But but like, the story needs to explain how.
Of course. I have no...
Because the whole crux of this movie is that, like, in the first one, something from the future was sent to the past, and now we in the past have future technology, and we're sort of retro...
I knew the word, and as soon as you said retro, it fell out of my head.
Retrofitting?
It's not retro.
Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering. There it is.
And we are now reverse engineering this, like, 30... It's like 30, because
it's 2029 in the sequence that the movie starts with. So at this point, it's like 40 years away.
Yeah. So we basically jumpstart 40-year technology is the crux of like how Skynet was able to happen so fast. We'll get into paradoxes, I'm sure. And they destroy all the future stuff at the end of this movie. And I was like, so they didn't have that 40-year jump. So how did Judgment Day happen so fast?
So I always thought that the explanation they used in Terminator 3, which is a movie I saw in theaters, by the way. Guess who was there opening weekend? This guy. The explanation I always heard was, or I always remembered, rather, not what I heard, because it may or may not be in the movie, was something like somebody had a backup somewhere and they were able to recreate Miles Dyson's research after he had died. So I think that is how they kind of hand waved it, which honestly, like in a corporate thing, makes kind of sense to me that they would have a backup somewhere that somebody could access.
Yeah, I mean, I just watched it last night, and I don't remember the specifics that they gave because it all felt very hand-wavy, and I was like, sure, but, like, come on. Give me something that says, like, you know, they sent Cyberdyne, sent a man back to be an intern with ideas or, like, something. Right,
or anything, really. Because this movie doesn't do the Back to the Future thing of like offshooting timelines. This movie is like there is one timeline and you directly affect it when you change the past.
Yeah.
But
which paradoxes abound in this movie, in this franchise.
Yeah, which is fine. Like honestly, no time travel thing makes any sense. That's why it doesn't, like, part of the reason it doesn't exist is because it would irreparably change things, and so people just like it just doesn't, you know, it doesn't make sense.
The only way it would work is the only way it can ever work is if it is like you watch a dark ride of the past.
Exactly.
And you're just like strapped in, you can't move, you're just watching.
Yeah, exactly. And even that is like you wouldn't be able to have the camera there to observe things because people would see it and then they would the reverse engineer problem would happen as well.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking of with regard to that is there's some, and I'm pretty sure this is an apocryphal story about either the first or second Toy Story where there was just a huge hard drive
It's
crash.
Toy Story 2.
Okay.
And it's the pregnant woman saved the day.
Yeah, but so allegedly somebody who worked there had a copy of the movie at home and was working on it at home, and they lost the main version at the central Pixar offices and then were able to use this version from her. I have heard this story many times. It just seems like nonsense based on computing power at the time. Like, I don't know that someone would be able to have a setup at home that would be able to crunch the data that way, but who knows?
I think the story the way I heard it, because I think it's been on like Toy Story, like DVD stuff.
This is a story they have made canon. That doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% true.
Fair. I think it was more that she was like a director or something. Something that wasn't just an animator, because she had basically it was like I think she just had like a copy of the whole movie. It wasn't like specific. It wasn't like the breakdown of like how to change things, but she had the whole movie. So they were able to like pull things from that. Was the way I took it.
Yeah. The way that they make it seem as if she had the like not a video file, but the movie as a block of gigantic.
No, she had a hard drive. She had like a computer because I remember they said they had to they sent 3 people to her house to like cradle it to a car, and then 2 people sat on either side of it as they slowly drove to the studio.
Yeah. So it's one of those stories. It's like I'm sure there's a nugget of truth within that story, but the way they tell it seems like just would be nonsense. All that to say that's how I assume Cyberdyne continued from T2 to T3. Yeah. But that's a very flawed movie. I mean, like. This is not a misogynist take, but the particular woman they cast to fight Arnold Schwarzenegger, look, I know they're robots, but just when you look at the refrigerator man, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's fighting an 85-pound woman, it looks a little silly on screen.
But that was also the peak time of weightlessness.
Yes.
Like,
oh my gosh.
Freddy versus Jason.
Floaty.
You get hit and you fly. Like,
yes.
Like, things have weight. You're heavy metal machines. I know you're both strong, but like, come on.
Yeah. So, but that is the one that they give us. The Arnold is like, here's the prototype for our robot monster people.
No, that's not that one.
No, it's a deleted scene in it because it might be a deleted scene then because I remember watching it distinctly because I definitely own T3 on DVD because Arnold like walks out and he's like,
I thought that was the 5th one because they changed his voice.
I'm almost positive. I would bet money that it's a deleted scene from 3. Maybe they inserted it into 5, but I've never seen 4 or 5.
I have not seen anything beyond that. I just remember reading that in a Cracked article of like, this is what they did.
I'm pretty sure it was a T3 deleted scene, but it's like, hi, I'm General Jones, and I'm going to be your Terminators.
To dub him.
Yes.
And then they were like, that voice doesn't work.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, T3, kind of a mess. The new one with Linda Hamilton back and Arnold's back is still not good, but it has moments that I liked. I thought Mackenzie Davis was pretty rocking in it. I like her a lot. I thought
Is that
really
the one where
it.
it's the enemy is the Asian robot and he's like jumping through the factory in the trailer?
Yeah, and they have like a new, like, there are humans who have cybernetic implants.
Oh.
So you can be like a human with the...
I kind of want to watch the new one.
It's like...
My problem is James Bond. They're all over 2 hours, except for T3.
Yeah. If you are in the mood for a modern blockbuster and you are like going in with all those things expected, but you want to see Linda Hamilton, it's fine. You know what I mean? It's aggressively fine. We should talk about this movie because it's really good, and we're just like sidetrack-a-palooza.
2 hours and 15 minutes. This movie could have been an even 2.
Yeah. The thing I started to say and got deeply sidetracked by was I really like Mad Max Fury Road. You've seen that, right? The most recent one with...
I have not, actually.
Oh, you gotta watch Mad Max Fury Road. That movie slaps. It's so good.
I mean, I know it. I know the imagery, and I've heard that it slaps. I just have not seen it.
You gotta like, that's a real, like, put your phone in a drawer and just like get in this bad boy.
That's how I watch every movie.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm talking not just you. I'm talking the royal audience that listens to this podcast. I'm just saying, like pull the shades down, turn the lights off, put the phone away, maybe get your snacks and your drinks if you like those things, and just like get in the passenger seat and take a real wild car ride, because that movie is that's all that movie is. But this movie is the same thing. It's just one action sequence. There's like no plot in this movie. All of the plot is delivered by Linda Hamilton voiceover, basically.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And I like this movie, but it's been 10 years since I've seen it. For some reason, right around like 10, 12 years ago, I stopped being a movie rewatcher and was mostly just watching new stuff that's new to me, except for like the odd thing here or there. I'm not
like Halloween time.
Yeah, I didn't. It's not that I never did it, but I just did it a lot more rarely. And I've been more in the last 2 years, what with all the COVID and looking for comfort food, doing more revisiting of favorites. And it's something that I feel stupid for not having done. Like, there's stuff I don't need to watch, every year, but there's plenty of movies I'm like, oh yeah, every 3 years you should watch this movie. Like, how you watch it will change, and what you take from it will change. So it was fun to rewatch this after a long layoff. But in rewatching it, I was like, wow, there's like no plot in this one. Like the first Terminator, again, it's been even longer since I've seen that, but I'm pretty sure is a lot more plot heavy about explaining everything that's going on with the future and the Connors and all that stuff. And this movie, it's kind of just like, run away! Run away!
But I mean, the plot is simple. It's like, we need to stop this corporation.
Right.
We need to stop Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk.
But that doesn't become the plot of the movie until an hour and a half into it.
Well, I guess I guess you're right.
The first, 80 minutes of this movie is John Connor and the T-800. Well, first it's looking for John Connor, and then it's helping John Connor run away, and then it's breaking Linda Hamilton out to keep her alive, and then it becomes about killing Miles Dyson and Cyberdyne.
Yeah. Who shouldn't have had to die, by the way.
No, it's a
real raw deal.
He does. Great Joe Morton performance, but we'll get there. So we start with an incredibly accurate look. It is 7 years into our future in 2029.
It's so close.
It's right around the corner, and it's just like a hellscape of burnt human bones and corpses and robots running around on top of us. And I was like, yeah, that feels pretty accurate. I feel like that's about where we're headed.
That shot of the robot foot crushing the skull, it's the best.
Good.
Stan Winston said apparently that Cameron was like, I'm going to need you to make at least 10 of those. And he was like, you got it, wink. And he made 26 because he was like, I know. Sure, Jim. You got it. 10, buddy. Yeah, you're going to do 10 takes, kiddo. Okay. Wheel in the wagon.
Yeah. I'm just imagining Stan Winston opening, he has 3 assistants, all with those big silver 80s, 90s briefcases. You know, the ones I'm talking about, that Halliburton cases, I think they're called. And
cases
they all just,
full of gold. Often.
Yes. But they just all hold them up, and then Stan Winston's flick, flip, flick, flip, flick, flip, and each one has 5 skulls in it, and then Stan is just holding one and doing and alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. So we get this voiceover. Linda Hamilton's like, hey, in case you've never seen a Terminator before, here's what's happening, which was very helpful for my fiance who had only seen the new Terminator. So
she's only seen T7.
She's going backwards. Yeah, it was very amusing to watch this where that trailer came out. We had gone to the movies to something else, and she was like, do you want to see that? And I was like, you want to see that? She's like, I kind of do. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So we saw that. That was her first Terminator movie. And I was like, if you feel confused, like, I feel like this movie's going to hold your hand, but if like you feel confused, just ask. Like, I'm sure I know the answer to the thing. But
you might not. If you missed 3 through 6
yeah.
or 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah. Is it 4, 5, and 6 or 4 and 5?
I think it's 5 and 6.
No, 4 and 5. I think the most recent one with Linda Hamilton is the 6th Terminator.
No, I think it's the 7th. And I think...
Is that right?
I think 4 doesn't count.
Okay. So is there 2 Christian Bale ones or just one? That's
one.
That's where
that Christian Bale one is the one that doesn't count because there's no Arnold.
I see. Okay. For me, a Terminator movie should have Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what I feel like I want in a Terminator. So they should both be in it. Her not being in 3 was kind of a travesty.
She apparently she was like, the script didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a bad movie. Yeah,
it's bad. Obviously, I can't imagine where they would have shoehorned her into it because she was like, I died halfway through, and then they hadn't had time to mourn me, so I said no.
Okay, yeah, I find that she said no, thank you. I saw it because I was like, it's a Terminator movie in the theaters. I love your Terminator. I gotta go see it.
It's been 10 years.
Right. Like, I've never seen a Terminator in the theaters except at Universal Studios. So, like, I had to go, but it wasn't very good.
I will say, Linda Hamilton walked so that Mila Jovovich could run, and we all need to acknowledge that.
It's also really a strange thing to think about for me because I feel like between 1978 or Aliens 1979, I'm not saying it started with Sigourney Weaver. Obviously, there were other female leads and things. But like, if you take that period of time between 78 and 92, you got, Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, who's like a lot more than a Shrieking Violet. You got
it's
Ripley.
A different kind, I say. Like, there's like the bandolier set, and then there's the clever set, I would say.
Yeah.
It's sort of your two schools.
Right. I totally agree with you there. It's like different shades of the same sort of thing. But it's like you got Jamie Lee, you got friggin' Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, one of the all-time most badass heroes in any movie, period. Like, just rules. And then Ripley comes back in Aliens, still kicking all this ass. You're Linda Hamilton in 84, Linda Hamilton again in 92. She doesn't get quite to my memory, she's not quite as action heavy in 84 as she is.
I don't
here,
think so.
But she's still like in the thick of this movie. And it's like, after that, it was just like, no women can be cool action people for like a decade. It just like disappeared. And it's like, why? Like,
I have
these
no
movies
idea.
Were immensely popular. They were critically successful. It's like, it makes
financially
no sense.
Successful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And it's just like, what the hell? Like, how did that, in a world where like now, if anything makes money, they make 16 derivatives of it. How in the hell did this not happen then? It just makes no sense.
I don't know. I think it's because they did well, but there wasn't enough of the bandolier set. It was a lot of the clever girls.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it's like,
if we're bandoliering, it's Linda Hamilton and Sigourney Weaver, and
there's definitely others we're not thinking of. But yes, I agree. It's a limited list.
Yeah. But she walked so that Resident Evil could happen.
Right. But yeah, it's just like I felt the same way. And we talked about this before, but like you got Jurassic Park. It's not Helen Hunt. It's
Ellie Sattler.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Laura Dern.
Laura Dern, like competent, smart, action. And that's 1993. And then it's like you fast forward to what's her face running from a T-Rex in high heels, and it's just like, what happened? Why did we lose this? This makes no sense. Anyway, different soapbox,
sexism.
Different time. Yeah,
blum, blum,
obviously.
blum, blum.
Yeah, that's obviously the answer. But it's illogical. Is what
it
the
is.
problem
It doesn't
that I
make
have.
any sense.
It's like this Terminator 2 made like $1 billion worldwide. Not really. It was 1992, but so much money, and nobody took any.
James Cameron has continually made movies that make the most money in the of all time. He did it with. I think Terminator 2 was the first one.
Yep.
And then he did it with Titanic, and then he did it with Avatar.
Yep.
There might be a fourth one in there, but like...
Yeah. Well, that's what I said many times. Is like, I have very little interest in Avatar 2, and I still, if I was going to bet on whether or not it would be successful, I would put my chips on successful.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not for me, but it's going to...
Don't bet against Jim Cameron. That's a stupid thing to do.
Yeah. Although, didn't he make some weird animated movie that no one liked? Or was that George Lucas? That was George Lucas.
George Lucas made Red Tails, which did not do very well financially. I don't know about the animated movie.
No, there was some animated like fairy tale musical that like looks kind of gross looking.
I see. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't think whatever you're talking about, Cameron almost certainly didn't direct because he's never directed animated. But he maybe produced what you're talking about. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, this guy's good at action. He's like, that's what he does. He's excellent at it. What struck me also in watching
True Lies. I think that was the other one. True Lies somehow made a lot of money.
That's a movie that if it came out 5 years later than it did, would have gotten like 16 direct-to-DVD sequels, and for some reason just didn't. Mm-hmm. But it would you would be like I was looking up a movie for this podcast that's called Wild Thing, singular. Okay. And I was just like researching it as a potential future episode. I'm not sure if it is, so don't get your hopes up out there. You know, listener request month right around the corner. But when trying to look that up, it gave me the results for the movie Wild Things, the movie with Denise Richards and Matt Dillon in a threesome.
Oh, not a sequel, I assume.
There are 3 sequels to that. The most recent one that came out in 2010 was called Wild Things: Foursome, made with nobody you've ever heard of. But it's like this movie just kept getting pumped out.
Is Wild Things a sequel to Wild Thing?
Oh, no.
Not related.
No. Wild Things is like a swampy, sexy thriller that we don't really make anymore.
Oh, okay. It's like when I made my boyfriend watch Killer Clowns for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know you don't like clowns. These are doable clowns, trust me.
Yeah.
And it ended, and he was like, that was fun. How many sequels are there? And I was like, none. And he was like, Are you serious? And I was like,
exactly. Yeah.
0 sequels for this movie.
Makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway, so we're in the future. We get that awesome robot
Chrome
crushing
Skelly.
Skull. Yeah, the incredible chrome skeletons.
It's silly that they have individual teeth.
It's like a lot of they also seem
why
to have
do
like
they have individual teeth?
They also seem to have like tendon based arm structure and stuff.
For a group of things that hate mankind, they sure base a lot of things off of our anatomy.
Yeah, it is a little bit silly. I'll give you that. But the other thing that I was struck by on this rewatch is how much this kind of feels like Aliens. It's like the jumpsuits are very Aliens. The laser weapons seem very Aliens. The whole thing feels of a similar ilk.
I can see that for sure.
So we have Linda Hamilton's voiceover, which gives us a nice previously on Terminator for those who need it, which is always helpful in your sequels. There was like 2 or 3 different things. I like gave the quick rundown to my fiance, and I was like, I think all you need to know is like there was a Terminator sent back to kill Sarah Connor. It looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, you know, they kind of know who he is when he comes. Like that's why they look like they recognize him. Now there's a new guy trying to kill John Connor and one trying to protect John Connor. And that's pretty much all you need to know in this movie. And then at one point I was like, oh, that's a reference to the first movie. And then the movie was like, yeah, she did that to me about 8 years ago or whatever. And I was like, the movie is doing this job. I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
So everything about this you start with in this scene, you're like, oh, the design of all of the effects is going to be incredible here. Like, I am in for a treat.
This movie is going to be delicious.
Yeah. It just, everything about the design of this is done by a complete madman who is a perfectionist. Like, there is no corner cut by insane person James Cameron.
No, God, no. And he has Stan Winston, who is about to do dinosaurs.
Yes.
That's the thing about like Stan Winston did this, and it's fucking incredible. And next year he's gonna do dinosaurs.
There's a very real chance that it was only a few weeks apart between wrapping up his work on this and starting his work on that.
I would believe that for sure.
I don't know the timelines, but it just from a logistical standpoint, it's almost
or there could have been overlap.
Yeah, for sure. It was a big team. We cut to one of my favorite things is when a movie set needs to have trash on it and nobody wants to deal with yucky trash, which is fine. That's good.
Valid.
But it's one of these things you only notice if you watch a lot of movies and are a big dork. But like anytime there's trash that needs to be blown around or dumped on somebody, it's like you might get a banana peel in there, but usually it's just like some crumpled newspapers and coffee cups that never had coffee in them.
Yeah, and wrappers and food wrappers that were never wrapped around food.
Exactly. Yes, they're like crumpled and stuff, but there's not like an obvious. Like if you unfurl a McDonald's wrapper, like
there's some
a
cheese
big old,
on the edge. There's
and
a
a
grease
big
spot.
old grease spot. Yeah. And here it's just like a bunch of things. So it's just like you know some dudes there with a leaf blower, like two guys on the left and right. It's like okay, left guy, right guy, left guy, right guy. Okay, now both of you towards the truck. Okay, perfect. And cool. Cut. We got to put the plate in. We get the big orb.
I love that I forgot that it did it. That the time travel orb cuts out whatever it touches. So there's like this awesome like. It looks like you took a melon baller to a truck. It's so cool.
This is one of those things that I think is really lost in our era of everything's digital filmmaking because like. This truck with a piece cut out of it is a real truck with a piece cut out of it that they showed on film. And then the digital effect looks more real because you see it with a real object.
I was even wondering if it was a digital effect or if it was just like UV reactive paint.
Oh, I'm just saying they physically cut a hole in the truck.
Oh, yes.
I don't think they physically cut a truck is what I meant. And like the orb is a digital effect laid on top of it. But like somebody took a torch, acetylene torch and like cut a hole off this truck.
It's awesome. That's another thing that I like, where did this truck go? Why isn't this in a backlot tour?
Yeah. You would think that would be like an easy prop. It's probably, probably went to some dump or recycling
Boneyard.
plant, got crushed up, and just destroyed. But so Arnie arrives. No, I texted you that I thought you were gonna be upset because
I need to find this first one so I can see the dong.
It is
swinging.
It is. Oh yeah, baby. He's like running, and it's just he's like a Greek sprinter from the early Olympics. It's just flapping around. I assume that in the first one they were like, no one will see anything, and now with like digital home video, it's like, hey, Arnold's dong's out. Is my assumption.
Probably.
And also possibly Michael Biehn. I don't remember, but you might get Twofer in that movie.
Oh yeah,
because he's not John Connor. He is. Oh my gosh, I just forgot the guy's
John's
name.
father.
Yes, it'll come to me later. So anyway, Arnold's here. He's naked, but we don't get to see anything. The classic Terminator down on one knee, stands up, goes to this biker bar. And I had said to my fiance, I was like, so Arnold was a bad guy in the first one, but he's a good guy in this one. And then we get this sequence.
Just like cracking skulls and breaking fingers.
Yeah, she turns to me, he's like, so just to clarify, this is the good guy? And I was like, fair. I forgot about this. Like, none of these guys have done. I mean, they purposely make them bikers, so you're like, well, they're bad people. But it's like, you can look like this and just also be a mall Santa. Like, you don't have to be a bad person. Yeah.
I've some people who look like that come to the gay bars I go to. Like,
yeah. It's very judging.
Would have been much funnier. Obviously, wouldn't do it 1992, but like, he should have to walk into a gay bar.
Doesn't he walk into a gay bar in the third one?
He walks into a bar that's doing like men stripping, but it's for all women.
Okay, so it's like Chippendales.
That is a very generous description, but yes.
Okay, you're saying it's seedier or better than a Chippendales?
It is the Boots and Saddle bar has Sexy Darren on Thursdays. Like it's
okay. So it's lower rent.
It is much lower rent.
I guess I was saying Chippendales in that it's not like a full naked strip club. It's like male dancers in tiny underwear.
Yeah, I mean, we never see that. The guy comes out to dance to Macho Man, and he's mincing about like fucking Snagglepuss. Because of course he is.
Right. It was 2003. The gay people were very, very small boxes they were put in.
Assuming that this dude was gay and not just, James Corden. I said it.
James Corden is a bigger enemy to you than Ron Howard is to the two of us.
I do not care for James Corden. I think he's a mess. Anyways, but he fights all these people. He pulls a Jurassic World and he throws a man onto a grill.
Yes. It's also the same gimmick that they used in that Jean-Claude Van Damme ice hockey movie that we always forget the title of.
Do we know what is that eligible for the show now?
I think that's 96 is my instinct. But I will check. If it is eligible for the show, we will do it.
Sudden death?
Sudden death. Yeah. I can't remember what year that's from. I think it's 96. But yeah, he also throws a guy into, I think it's a deep fryer. And then there's an additional one, I've told you before, but Batista basically remade Sudden Death as a hockey movie, as a soccer movie. And in that one, he drops his knife into the deep fryer and Batista reaches into the deep fryer to retrieve the knife. And then he stabs the guy with it.
There are no rules anymore.
Sudden Death is 95, so maybe next leap year.
Damn. No, next leap year is going to be Poseidon Adventure.
Well, we get 2. We have a Patreon.
That's fair.
Did you catch that multiple women checked out Arnold's dick?
Yes. Because I would have done the same thing.
I mean, I'm pretty straight, and I also would have been like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, Aruga track package.
I mean, a naked person walks in, and I'm taking a peek. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, you know how Scooby-Doo, the like lean out the door? That's me.
I don't know if I'm doing as obvious a lean, but I'm sure I'm taking a quick glance.
Yeah. Wait, did you hear about that? I think it was Freddy's Dead, like the worst nightmare movie. They were using the same effects company as Terminator 2.
Uh-huh.
And which it might have been ILM. Was ILM around then?
Yeah, I think so.
And one day the Nightmare crew got the Terminator 2 track instead. So like they got the visual, they like got the files and like the film of Terminator 2 instead of Nightmare back, and they were like, "Oh my god, James Cameron can never know about this." So they watched it immediately and then sent it back and then messengered it back. They were like, hey, you got to stop that messenger from getting to James Cameron because he will kill you.
Yeah, that's the thing. He, from all accounts, is a complete psycho. Like, just a complete
He and Kubrick are fucking nutcases.
Yeah, and he's an absolute perfectionist. He definitely put people in danger on the making of Titanic, probably on other things as well. Like, is a complete and total maniac. Period. End of sentence. New sentence. However, it is hard to argue with how good his shit looks on film. So I condemn that he puts people in danger, although as far as I'm aware, did someone die on Titanic? I feel like I've heard that, and I don't know that that's true.
I don't know my Titanic facts.
Yeah, but he's a complete and total lunatic, and so let's put a couple of allegedlys on that dead person on Titanic thing. He's a complete maniac. He is, but this movie is incredible looking, and it's probably because he's a complete maniac.
Yeah.
So anyway, big bar fight, and it all looks very cool, really well staged. Arnold, the other great point my fiance made, he scans this dude and is like, "Okay, perfect match. Give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle."
Yeah, I'm like, is he a perfect fit though?
Yeah, this guy is 4 pant sizes smaller than you. Have you seen your naked thigh? It's the size of some people's torsos.
Yeah, I was like, sure, buddy.
He's got 2 toddlers between his hip and his knee. It's just like full-grown toddlers.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to have his stunt double has to, or his body double has to be the one that you take the clothes from. Because
I agree 100%. I thought the exact same thing. Is like, why is this not his stunt double?
Mm-hmm.
With a wig
Make him
on.
a bouncer.
Yeah. And put a wig on him so he's got long hair so they don't look
long
like
blonde hair like Carl from Die Hard.
Yeah,
the one with the beautiful hair.
Carl from Die Hard would have been a perfect guy to be the biker. That's better casting.
Yes.
We get, so he runs outside. The bartender shoots. Yeah, well, the bartender shoots a gun in the air, and he's like, "I can't let you take the man's bike." And Arnold just plucks the shotgun from him.
Here's the thing: who is still trying to stop him at this point?
Yeah,
I
honestly do respect the bartender. Is like, look, you've this far, no further, you know. And then as soon as Arnold turns his gaze on him, the guy you can see is peeing his pants.
Yes, don't be a hero.
Takes the sunglasses, puts them on, completes, I think, one of the coolest look and one that, like, I don't know that there's any other actor ever who could pull this exact costume off and look this cool. You know what I mean? Like Stallone doesn't do it for sure in that
absolutely
era.
not. You might have to make some adjustments, but I would argue a mid-'80s Kurt Russell could.
All right, fine, fair. Okay, that is the other guy, fair. The coolest person in cinema history.
Because I said I wrote
yeah, you're
later.
fair. You're right. Yeah.
I'll say it now. I think this the T2 Terminator specifically, all other Terminators now, might be one of the again, sorry to be like a dude bro, one of the coolest performances.
It is. It's cool. It's really cool. That's the way to describe it.
Cool.
Yes.
It's him and Snake and the one from Big Trouble, the Kurt Russell in Big Trouble,
Jack Burton.
Like
it's effortlessly cool. Yes, you're 100% correct. I have the word "cool" in my notes 100 times.
I don't think
cool.
we really have that anymore.
No, because
people think they are, but they're not.
Well, and the other thing is we had a more concentrated culture then, so fewer things were cool.
That's
true.
I
think it's harder to be as wide appealing as Arnold here or Jack Burton in 86 or Snake in either of those movies, because it's a little different. But yeah, I totally agree. I mean, just effortlessly cool, and the only good use of Bad to the Bone in the history of cinema and television. This is the one. This is the one time it doesn't seem cheesy at all.
I mean, I like the needle drop in Freaky Friday, starring Lindsay Lohan.
But that's a comedy drop.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, so I'm saying
they're playing poker.
This is the one time that anyone has ever used George Thorogood seriously, and it doesn't feel stupid. That's what I'm saying. This is the one time.
I don't think I've ever seen it used earnestly outside of this movie. I feel like every time it's always sort of jokey.
Yeah, it's because this is so good. It's we can't touch this. We can reference this and be funny, and people will get the joke. But it's the moment is sealed in a box and put on the shelf. Is that's really fucking cool. We can't touch that. We don't have the balls, but yeah, it's amazing. It's so good. But yeah, I think this is one of the top 5, and it's again, no one else could be it. Maybe Snake, maybe Kurt Russell. It's this exact look looks so cool. He looks so cool.
He does.
And this is objectively not a great look. It's leather pants and a leather jacket. It's
you watch
really
your
hard
leather
look to pull
pants
off.
and a leather jacket is a good look.
It's a hard look to pull off and seem cool, seem tough cool, not rock star cool, right? It's a different type of cool.
Yeah,
he seems tough as hell.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the others that aren't Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
for just cool.
Yeah, I think you could do a femme version with a Tilda Swinton that looks very cool in a completely different way.
Okay, I can totally see that.
I think she could rock the look. But I don't think it would be cool in the same way. It's a different kind of cool. It's more rock starry, which is different, but still a thing.
Honestly, maybe current day Linda Hamilton could.
Yeah, I think
does she not dress like that in the new one?
She dresses more like she dresses in the second half of this movie, sort of tactically.
Okay.
Also it looks like a cool costume, but just it's more tactical.
Yeah.
So the T-1000 gets introduced. He kills a cop, so he's the bad guy. It happens very quickly.
Well, in 92, that makes him the bad guy. In 2022, it's a different interpretation.
Well, it depends on it depends. You would not get this cop intro for this guy's a bad guy. The cop would be racially profiling somebody before he got killed.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, it's Carl Winslow being I shot a kid.
So this brings up something that I find annoying about the T-1000. He time travels naked.
Yes.
Except he is a gloopy alloy who can make clothes and anyone he wants. So why did he time travel naked?
Yeah, I really feel
And not that I'm complaining. Great, cute little butt. Nice little body. But why?
I think a cooler intro for the T-1000 would be as if he was an Alex Mack puddle, and the cop stepped in him, and then the cop was "Oh, what the hell?" and was shaking his foot off, and as he does that, the T-1000 materializes out of the silver. No. I want him to stand up and be a human and be this cop.
Oh, not climb up the cop's leg.
No. I want the cop to be like, what the hell? And like step away. He's like shaking his foot. And then the puddle like turns into the carbon copy of this cop. And he's looking at himself. And then he gets stabbed through the face. But I think the real answer to your question is they needed an actor to be the T-1000. And I guess they just, it's funny. I had Mandela affected that the cop driving the car was Robert Patrick.
Yeah, I fully did. I fully thought that was the case. But he just takes his clothes.
Like, yeah. So like the T-1000 has like a base look, which is an odd thing for a metal alloy. I agree. It's a weird thing.
It's sort of like how Mystique has her base look.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I just meant more like, why did he time travel naked if he can?
Yes.
Like they have clothes in the future.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. But I guess they could transform the alloy, but not the clothes. It's like the alloy. It's magic.
It's a lot of hand waving magic because they're like he has to touch it to be able to make the outfit. I'm like he clearly could have touched 100 things in the future.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense. It's pretty silly. But like I said, that was my one like, oh, this would have been a cooler, I think, intro is like make the cop Robert Patrick.
Yeah.
And then he steps in the thing and then Robert Patrick is looking at
Although
himself
they do that
what?
later with the twins, with the cop.
Yeah,
with
you'd
the
have
security
to
guard.
you'd have to take that gag out.
Yeah. There's so many James Cameron loves putting twins to work.
Yeah. Well, those guys are also in Gremlins too. It's actual twins.
Yeah, they play the they're the scientists, right?
Yes, yeah, they work in the lab. So we go to meet John Connor and we meet his step parents. His stepmom, I feel like I've seen in some stuff recently, although I didn't IMDb her. I got distracted by how cool this movie was. Yeah. But I really love Todd's performance because he is just so over it. Like Todd's clearly a guy that has a job he hates and
probably works 50 hours a week.
Yeah, or more. He seems like he didn't super want to have this kid, but his wife really wanted to, and he was like, okay, like we'll be foster parents. And then like the actuality of being the parent is way more exhaustive than he thought. And John is a particularly shitty kid, and he's just like, I just want to sit down and watch this stupid boxing match and drink 6 beers. Like, I had a shitty week. And she's like, come on, help me. You got to get him to clean his room. And he like musters the energy to go out there. John, of course, blows him off. Like, you're not my dad, Todd. And Todd,
he should have, I feel like the foster parents should have been shittier.
Yeah, they seem kind. They seem like
not the best, but they're not bad people. Like they're trying.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think they purposely don't make them bad people so that the T-1000 killing them seems sad. But I agree with you. Like, it would make more sense. Like, John Connor is so shitty. It's just like, I mean, these people, like, they're asking you to clean your room. It's not like they're, like, making you do, here's a 600-piece wood pile to chop or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it just seems very silly.
He acts like he's Cinderella, but he does not seem to be in a Cinderella
Exactly.
position.
Yes. It should have been more like, you clean the whole house. You scrub the toilets with your own toothbrush.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, 100%. So we cut to Linda Hamilton looking freaking jacked.
Chiseled out of marble.
It's just, she's doing chin-ups on her hospital bed turned sideways, and she just, like, is just a rippling all-muscle monster. She just looks like she could kick so much ass.
Yeah, it's like the ratio of human to muscle on Arnold is the same on her.
Yeah, honestly, like, Linda Hamilton could kick both of our asses simultaneously, one hand.
Easily.
Yeah. I kind of touched this already, but the T-1000 sort of symbiote, I wrote this down here, but like symbiote energy was what I was thinking would have been a little more, I think would be a little bit cooler of like, sort of like like he's a little more like a parasite and a little less like a blob monster.
Okay, I can see that.
I don't know why I wrote that there.
Yeah.
So we
Robert
get a little
Patrick, is it Robert Patrick or Patrick Robert?
Yeah, Robert Patrick.
He's got a very pretty face. It's kind of like a young Emilio.
Yeah. My fiance said he was a babe.
Babe?
A babe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I agree. He's a babe, but he's very mean and he only plays bad guys.
Well, when you're good at it.
Yeah.
Also, when you do it once well, that's all you're ever going to do for the rest of time until you do voice acting.
He's kind of borderline in the Kate Hudson corollary territory because he's very good in this and way better here than he usually is.
Really?
I think so. I don't think he's like bad elsewhere, but I think this is by far his best performance that I've seen. Perhaps he's great in other things. So we get a little computer magic. John hacks into an ATM with this little terminal that he's got. He steals $300 from somebody, which is like an inherently unlikable thing to do.
But it's not. But who does he steal it from? Because it's a card that he's like made that like is like has the rainbow belt attached to the.
So he says specifically stolen credit card. I thought he stole it from Todd and his stepmom, whose name I forgot.
I have no idea.
I think he might have stolen their credit card.
Huh. Because it was like so done up with like technology and shit. I didn't realize it was. I like my brain's like, that's not stolen. He must have like hacked into someone's account, which isn't good either. But
no, he puts that ribbon cable on the card and he puts the card in the machine, and then he uses his machine to like distill what the pin is from the computer.
Yeah. So it is someone's card. Got it.
It's somebody's card. Yeah. Cause he's like stolen credit card.
Steal from banks, not people.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. One of those crimes is essentially victimless. This person has to be on the phone with the bank for 9 hours about this $300.
Because it's a debit card. That's the real money.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Use a credit card. Because then all you have to do is say, that wasn't me. And they go, boop,
right.
Boop.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. This crime has a victim, and it makes me not like John Connor.
You call Discover, and you say, that wasn't me. And they're like, all right, bye.
Yeah. So Linda's being interrogated, and there's a great line reading from her of, "Oh, I feel much better now," because the doctor from the first
fully
Terminator.
Evil Dead.
Oh yeah,
Ash,
yeah,
I'm fine now. Let me out of the cellar.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah. Let me free, please. Spoilers for our next episode. I was thinking that the same thing. Really great performance. This doctor is a great casted
He's
character.
so good at being this fucking little shitheel.
Yeah, and he's also in the first movie playing the same thing. And then
really?
I had Yeah. And I had forgotten he is also in the T2 3D. They like bring this guy back to be, he has a role as like the Cyberdyne head of medical something or other. Like it's nonsense. It's just purely they were like, hey, let's get that guy back. Everybody knows that guy.
He's in T3 as well.
Is he really?
Yeah, I didn't realize it because Claire Danes is suing. So they rescue Claire Danes from being kidnapped by the Terminator.
I forgot Claire Danes was in that.
Yeah,
okay.
doing
yeah.
some stuff, I guess.
Yeah, that was before the Danes-assance when she got on Homeland and everybody was like, oh, she's a good actor. And it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, she was in that Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah.
But yeah, he comes, all of a sudden you hear, I'm Dr. Silberman. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's what they wanted? That's one of the fan service things they threw in this movie?
I guess so. I guess this guy he's popular. Someone's going to tweet and be like, he's not actually in the first Terminator, but I'm pretty sure he is.
Who would he have been?
Well, Linda gets caught and interrogated by like medical people in the first movie too, I thought.
I don't remember that. I don't remember her being as involved like that. I thought she was just like a waitress who kind of stumbled into this.
Well, they go to the police station. She gets arrested by the police and interrogated, and she tells the story about there's like a robot man chasing me, and they're like, yeah, okay, you idiot.
Okay. So maybe it is that.
He is in Terminator, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, and Terminator Dark Fate in archive footage.
Is Dark Fate what year?
I believe that's the one I just saw. 2019. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that one.
So we go to the vault, Miles Dyson, we see him at work. The really great Joe Morton performance. The
Cyberdyne offices.
So good.
So cool. And again, sorry to harp on it, Resident Evil, the movie, would not exist without this movie. Like everything about it.
It's in the game design too, right? Like aren't the Raccoon City, not Owl City, that's the band. Raccoon City, whatever the people, isn't it very similar to this in the games as well? I haven't played the games very much.
So I just played the second or the third. They digitally remastered it, and my boyfriend watched me play it because he got too scared.
They're a little too scary for me as a game. I don't care for it.
They can be, for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that design was like that in the games.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right. It gets ripped off in a ton of things, but it's so ultra modern, feels like the future, even though it's supposed to be set here in 92. And like the invisible cases in the wall where, Joe Morton's like swiping his finger and the thing flips open and the chip is inside. And they're like, okay, turn your key to the left on 3, 1, 2, 3, turn. It's just all really great stuff.
Oh yeah.
There's also a really clever line where the security guard's like, how's the wife and kid? Which kind of sets up the Miles Dyson as a family, and yeah, it's just a good little bit of world building, just a casual line that pays off later.
Yeah. I also forgot that T2 3D takes place in the Miles Dyson Memorial Auditorium.
That's right, I did too.
Which like
watching that video
again, I'm trying to piece together how we got from there to
makes
there.
No sense. Yeah.
Like if he wasn't, they just assumed he wasn't involved with what happened.
So my assumption is they probably thought that these people forced him to do the stuff he did.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, from their perspective, the only person who saw Miles Dyson with the people, they immediately drew guns on the guy, right? So it's like, okay, they probably threatened to kill him. So, of course, he helped them.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they go to the wife, and the wife, like, look, she needs that insurance payout, right? Like, I got no beef with her being like, yeah, they kidnapped my husband. Like, that should 100% be the cover story. Like, let her get that payout. Like, she should get that bag from Cyberdyne. Let her get it all, baby. Like, screw them. They're evil. Take all their money.
Exactly.
So we see the hand in the jar. We got the chip in the jar. And then the doctor won't let Sarah go to the minimum security because he's afraid she'll escape. And he also won't let her even talk to John on the phone, which feels pretty scummy. Like, it's like, okay, what he says is like, I believe you. I don't believe you're better. I think you're lying to tell me what you want to hear, what I want to hear, because you're very smart, which is true. Like, he's correct.
He's correct, but also he's an asshole.
You can give her a little bit of carrot with the stick, man.
You can give her a phone call. She's not like, what's she gonna do through the phone?
Right. Unless you think she could teleport through it like the Shocker or something. Like, it's fine.
Like she's gonna start dialing into the modem. Like,
right. Yeah. Exactly. It's just like, let her talk to her son. You absolute turd.
Also, it's all being recorded. So like this whole session where she's like, I'm better now. Like, it's fine. Yeah. And including him being like, I think you're lying, so you don't get moved and you don't get to talk to your son, you crazy bitch. And she attacks him, and then he turns and he's like, model citizen. And I was like, everything was filmed, buddy. Like, they saw you be an asshole too.
Right. It's just like, he's such a smug prick. It's a really great performance. Mm-hmm. So we're at the Galleria Mall with Budnick, who we forgot to mention was with John Connor. Budnick from Salute Your Shorts. Don't remember the actor's name. Well, just for the people out there. He's John Connor's friend, and he takes the Uber dirt bike out of this movie in the first 10 minutes and disappears.
We need a Corey Haim type.
Yeah, exactly.
Or no,
exactly. Either or, honestly.
Yeah. We need a Corey type.
I do like this little bit of business with the T-1000, and he's got the picture of John that he got from the parents. We forgot to say that he went there. That sort of sets us in motion. The T-1000 goes to John's parents' house, or the step-parents' house, rather. They're like, oh, this guy on a bike was looking for him earlier. Does that have anything to do with it? And I'm like, you people are really casual about a very scary giant man dressed like this, riding a bike, being like, where's your son?
Yeah, if that happened to our parents, they would be like, we don't have a son. I don't know what you're talking about. Here.
Well, our mom wouldn't be able to lie. She'd be like, oh, they're hiding.
And then dad would push her behind the door.
Yes, we don't have any kids. Go away.
How dare you bring this up? This is a very tender subject. Get out of my house.
Yeah. Just, excuse me, I'd like to speak to your son. And it's like, who would tell this guy anything?
Yeah.
So we know that they're both looking for him. When there's that cool shot of him, Arnold carrying the box of roses through the Galleria.
I want the scene we don't see where he got that box.
He got the extra long stem roses to hide his shotgun in.
Which is brilliant, but like, did he go to a florist and get it?
With what money? Did he hold up a florist for this box?
Did he steal it from someone?
He definitely stole it. He has no money.
Yeah. Well, because at this point,
unless the biker's wallet was in the pocket, which is possible.
That's true.
I would honestly, a deleted scene, and even if it's just like some fan shot this where it's like never Arnold's face, but just only the shoulders and the outfit, and it's just like a florist, and he's like, I'd like a dozen roses, please, and then like pulling the money out and counting out ones to pay for these roses. It just tickles me.
Because at this point, we don't know that there's one of them is good.
Right.
The movie hasn't told us that yet.
Right.
But his friend, John Connor's friend, is a cool guy because he sees a cop show his friend, like, have you seen this kid? And it's his friend. And he goes, I've never seen him before in my life. And then he runs over. He's like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah. and then doesn't even a second move where he's like, hey, I saw that kid you were looking for. And the T-1000 just shoves him out of the way.
Clearly he saw him.
Yeah. The T-1000 just like whoop throws him into an arcade cabinet. So we're running down the hallway. John's running away from the T-1000. Arnie comes the other direction. He recognizes Arnie, presumably from like some closed circuit pictures of the police station or something. Like it's weird.
I imagine Linda Hamilton could sculpt his face.
That's true. She probably did
in her sleep at this point.
Yeah. But so he's like, caught in the crossfire of these two. And then like I've always said, my dream extra role is either, getting murdered or having a head injury. And I'd like to amend it to be this guy because he gets to put on a ton of squibs. He's got like 30 squibs. He gets shot so many times. I would love to be this extra so much. Somebody cast me to be this extra. I'll die on camera. I'll look good.
I will say that this little, like, quote-unquote backstage at a mall area was not creepy enough for what those actually look like.
The lighting, all the light bulbs worked, and in those spaces, for real, it's like a third of the light bulbs work.
Yeah, it is the fucking Nostromo in the back area of a mall. The floor is always ripped up for some reason.
Yep.
In at least 2/3 for some reason.
The grocery store I worked at of the Acme, the back room, the Nostromo is exactly right. It's like very warehousey. The lighting's terrible. There's no effort to make anything look other than cinder blocks. It's really depressing.
Yeah, I worked at King of Prussia Mall, like a very fancy mall, and the back area of that was still. I was like, I'm about to walk into Silent Hill as I'm taking the Lush trash out.
Yeah.
And then there was one day when some store got rid of all their mannequins. So I walked into the trash room and it was just full of mannequins.
Dude, I 100% would have taken a mannequin home. How did you not take a mannequin home?
I thought about it, but I was like, there's like water damage. They were like the clothy kind.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I think there's water damage in these.
They weren't like full body arms and legs mannequins. It was like more like a dressmaker's dummy.
Sort of. It's like how some stores will do it's just the clothy torso, and then some of it is the arms and legs. But I was I was like, no.
Full on mannequin, I'd have been like, this is coming home with me, and I'd have carried it out under my arm.
I would have had to figure out a way to do that.
I just
fit it in my car
right out. I just put it in the passenger seat, baby. Take the HOV lane home. They have a nice. So this extra gets all shot up. They start shooting each other. Then they start hand-to-hand combat. So much sugar glass. Such cool, God. Just really beautiful on-screen action and destruction. And then a really funny little bit that I got a legit chuckle, even though I've seen it 1,000 times. I'd forgotten that the T-1000 kind of eyeballs that silver mannequin for a second.
Yeah,
it's like, almost like, hey,
brother?
buddy. Yeah, exactly.
I'll free you.
I will. And he like caresses the cheek, like I'll
get you out of here.
I'll return for you. Yes, I cannot believe they do this to you.
His run, I don't think gets talked about enough.
I literally wrote down, my God, the running.
Well, because he apparently trained for months to only breathe through his nose, so that it wouldn't
keep his mouth shut,
so that it wouldn't look like effort.
Yeah.
And apparently he was
awesome.
He was that scene in the end of The Incredibles where he was like running, he would get too close to the bike and have to like consciously slow himself down because he trained too good.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's a great little anecdote. Like I said, this performance is so good from him. And it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. It's like, I need to be a merciless killing robot with no emotion. And yet he projects so much fear every time you look at him.
There's so much personality in this, this little, it's a very surface level, simple performance, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I honestly wondered if they made him run in the audition process.
I don't know. Just to have a baseline of how creepy
to see what it looks like. Yeah, because it's a very specific thing. Like you said, I mean, people do kind of joke about you run like the Terminator or whatever, but the like very choppy arm strokes and stuff, he runs like a robot would run. It's just, it's great. It's really good. So they're getting to a chase sequence. He hijacks it looks kind of like the front end of an 18-wheeler, but I think it's supposed to be a tow truck. And and John is driving his dirt bike in the I think it's like a storm runoff system in Los Angeles. I don't know what
it's the Los Angeles River.
Okay. So he's like, it's this, cement sort of thing. It's used in a lot of LA movies, but he's like, driving this little dirt bike in it. This incredible shot of the truck crashing through an overpass barrier into it.
It is. This whole movie is a theme park show, but this sequence is very much a theme park show.
But it's also just like it's a real truck that crashes through a real barrier that has a real dummy inside it, so it looks like a person gets thrown around. And it's all real objects, and a camera captured real light hitting the real objects. That's why it looks good. It's 30 years later. This looks better than every car stunt in every Marvel movie. I'm sorry it does. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know I talk about this too much. I know it's annoying if you listen to it. I apologize, but it just looks so fucking cool.
It does.
Awesome.
And you know what else makes this movie great? They don't fucking talk.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
there's no quipping.
How
no
much
whatsoever.
worse would this movie be if it was like Loki and Thor?
Right.
Just like,
right.
oh, brother. But
Yeah. I think
that was more Rocky Horror than Loki.
It was a little Tim Curry adjacent, but it was fine. I thought it was funny. I got to imagine Tim Curry as Loki, which is
I wish
Tom Hiddleston an upgrade. But yeah, I think Arnold has like 250 words of total dialogue in this.
He gets paid. So on IMDb, someone broke it down like how many words and how much he got paid, and I think it was like 29,000 a word.
Yeah.
So like Hasta La Vista Baby is like almost $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
Insane.
Well, that would be 4 words.
Or
120.
Yeah, it was $120,000 for Hasta La Vista Baby or something like that.
Yeah. And that's like we recorded these very out of order, but on our American Anthem episode that will be on Patreon in September, I talked a lot about Gal Gadot, but it's like this is what they should be doing with Gal Gadot. She's not a good actor, but she looks cool on screen. Like,
she's not a good speaker, but she's a good actor.
She does not deliver dialogue well. Neither did Arnold. And the other thing that's really funny, talking about the Terminator 2 3D show, is there's Arnold, Serious Arnold, that ends in like 1994 or 5, like right around Jingle All the Way, whenever that happens.
Yeah.
He becomes like funny family man Arnold, which is fine. Like, he needed to evolve. They weren't making these movies anymore. But the way he says down is drastically different when he's Serious Arnold versus when he's comedy Arnold.
Are you able to emulate in some way? Because you texted me that, and I was like, I'm gonna have to.
So I obviously do not do a great Arnold impression, but I think you will get it from what I do here. So in just a few beats, we're at the hospital with Linda Hamilton, and he says, "Get down." Right? It's just
get down. Down. Because I was like, when does he say down? Get down.
Yeah,
okay.
Get down, and then he shoots over her. And then when he's comedy Arnold, it's get down.
Yeah, because when he does even True Lies,
get down. True Lies is funny Arnold. Yes, True Lies is funny Arnold. He's quippy in that movie, and it's get down. And it's this like there's an extra like the OU sound is different. It's more rounded. It's how I picture it if you were to describe it. And so in the T2 3D, which I think came out in 96, 97 in Orlando.
Late?
Yeah, it's way after the movie, and didn't open in Hollywood I think until 99.
Wow, I thought it was like in 94. I thought it was like how Jurassic Park was like hot on the heels.
You sent me that video that was like the history of the ride, which I had never watched before, and I really enjoyed it, but I was stunned at how far apart they were. But Arnold does like 4 or 5 lines in the 3D show that are just lines from this script. And one of them is get down, but instead of it being get down, it's get down. And it's like just the obviously I'm bad at it, but I think you can get it illustratively. But I was chuckling at like, that is like one of the very key, like if Arnold says that word, you know what kind of Arnold you're watching, like what era very specifically. Do you know he had to hire a coach to keep his accent because he was losing it from being in America? And he found he was like, this is kind of like a signature of who I am and part of the reason people want to see me. So he has like a coach who teaches him to keep his accent.
Huh, that's kind of cute. I like that.
Yeah. Anyway, so much car smashing. For some reason, this LA river is just like a bunch of burned out cars that they can keep hitting this truck against, which looks great. I love it. I don't care if it's silly. Like, it just looks awesome. And then Arnold
It's guilt-free destruction because
Exactly.
they are abandoned, rusted-out cars.
Yeah, because at one point Arnold cuts across like 4 lanes of traffic, and you see some cars hit each other, and they are just like fender benders, but the windshields break, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. That's really traumatic. Those poor people. It probably got neck whiplash or whatever.
Yeah. Also, if you're over 30, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was in a car crash, a pretty serious car crash about 5 years ago, and like I still have a little bit of like very like certain sounds on the road. I'm like, ugh! Like it never goes away, or maybe it does eventually, but 5 years later it hasn't. I'm not like afraid to drive, but you hear like the squeal of tires, and it's just like, oh god, because that I heard squealing tires before I got hit really bad. I don't know if I must have talked about that on the show.
I don't know actually.
Yeah, but I got hit and the car spun 180 degrees, and then I got hit from the front as I was spinning and spun me back 180 degrees, and then I hit a guardrail. So I was lucky to be pretty much uninjured, other than some I had to go for some physical therapy for my shoulder, which got kind of rocked by the seatbelt actually, but I didn't hit my head or anything, no glass broken or anything like that. The airbag didn't go off. I was pretty much unhurt. Like I was hurt, but not like injured seriously. Like I said, it's just like you see those crashes in movies now, and I'm just like, oh, geez, like that poor person. That's a lot to deal with. But anyway, awesome shot of the stunt double jumping the motorcycle into the pit, which I couldn't believe they used a real person for, honestly.
So the way they did it was wire work.
Yeah, it's if you look up the behind the scenes of this, it's one of the coolest things in the movie from an effects standpoint.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. No. For Edward Furlong, they had to put him they had to get a bigger bike so that he would look like a child, his stunt double. And then for this, it was a stunt double on wires so that the bike only hit, it was like 180 pounds of hitting the ground.
Yeah, it looks incredible in the movie. And like you can if you know how they did it, you can kind of see how the bike motion is very smooth, but it still looks cool as hell.
As much as I love T2 3D, I kind of wish that it was a more like not tram tour, but like a backstage tour kind of attraction for Terminator, where like you could be this, like the truck could come over the edge and all that stuff.
Yeah, it would look really awesome, or even just like the motorcycle jumping down alongside you or something. Yeah,
but real, not a screen.
Right. Yeah, just like a motorcycle.
I don't want to look at a screen inside a party.
Right. A motorcycle on a wire that would just reset.
Mm-hmm. Like a earthquake, the big one.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a Arnold shoots the truck a bunch and it blows up, and then we see this burning tire come rolling out. It's just like an awesome little postscript to this.
Yeah,
we think he thinks the T-1000's dead, or at least dead enough that they can get away. So they roar off, but then he walks through the flames as liquid metal, and it just looks so freaking cool.
And this is where I was like, wait a minute, he put his clothes back. So
yeah.
Why was he naked at all?
No, it doesn't make sense. The T-1000 rules are very hand-wavy. I mean, it's like...
It's clear enough.
Yeah. And I always say, like, when you play a game like Dungeons & Dragons, like, if you play it with the right people, the answer is, like, the rule of cool overrides all, right? Like, if you come up with something creative and cool, you want to make it work. And it's like, they want to make it work, so it's fine. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like, yes, it breaks the reality very slightly, but when the movie's good, it doesn't matter.
I agree.
So we need to make a quick phone call home. He asks Arnold
for a quarter. This scene always terrified me as a child.
Which the
phone call home.
Yeah,
this whole sequence terrified me as a kid.
It's scary. It is. But I love Arnold. Like, he's like, I need a quarter, and he punches the phone, and just all the change pours out of it. Really good. So maybe he doesn't have the biker's wallet, because presumably the biker had a couple of quarters in that thing.
I don't know. I never have quarters in my wallet.
Well, you didn't have a wallet in 1992 as an adult man.
That's true.
People needed to make phone calls.
I had a Velcro Ninja Turtles wallet.
Right, but you were also 5. So You were 1. Never mind. It was 1992. You were born.
My wallet had you can drive a bike license that wasn't real.
Yes.
Whew.
Yes.
Where did those come from?
The police did a bike training safety course at the school. They had to ride through some cones and stop, and like they taught you how to do the hand signals for turns.
That no one brutally
No one
does.
does. I do see. I will say I do see adults who bike. A lot of people bike here in DC. I do see people do it for safety purposes, which is smart. I don't do it correctly, but if I'm going to turn, I will point. If I'm riding on the street,
it's weird that it's not just point to the side, and it's like
yeah. It's supposed to be that you can do it all with your one arm, so it's universal. I don't know why they have decided to do that, but that's what they do. Yeah, I just point the direction I'm turning if I'm on the road. So we get a great little bit of business here where Arnold learns to the T-1000 is just taking over John's stepmom, and he's doing her like voice and all, and then Arnold takes the phone from John and starts talking to her as John, and then he's like, "What's the dog's name?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Max or whatever it is," and he's like, "Mom, how's Woofy?" And she's like, "Oh, Woofy's just fine," and then really coldly, "What are you?"
Where are you?
No, she says, "What are you?" Because she knows it's the Terminator.
I don't. I swear it's where.
She asks John where he is, but then when the Terminator asks about the dog, she says, "What are you?"
I'm gonna have to rewatch because I swear it's where both times.
Okay, I think she says, "What are you?" because she knows he's a Terminator. Like she recognizes this is a voice mimic.
Huh. I'll have to rewatch that moment.
Poor Todd, still just like trying to get done with this day. He's drinking milk right out of the carton, and it's the last thing he does as a living person.
Because she like holds out her. It's not been confirmed that she's the T-1000, but he like makes some comment, and she just holds up her hand off camera, and you hear a sound that you're not sure what it is.
Yes,
and it was
like a sort of meat chunk sound.
It was her finger, her hand becoming a knife goes through the milk carton.
Yes. Your foster parents are dead.
Yeah. Also, can we talk about how triggering it would be to send this model of the Terminator back?
Yes.
Like he's T-800 Model 101.
Yeah.
There's other models you could...
Presumably.
Obviously, I want Arnold to be here, but like, in the logic of the movie, you're not going to send this one back.
They sort of like get at why they do it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me in the logic of the movie. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So the cops are talking to Sarah, like trying to get her to cooperate. And then like from her point of view, I'm like, yeah, he's a robot monster killer. I keep telling you this and you don't agree. You don't listen to me. So I'm just not going to pay attention. Like, what can I do to help here?
But also I'm like, these photos are 8 years apart and this man looks unchanged. You think it's this, what cop in the real world is like, this is the same man?
Well, closed circuit televisions are still pretty crappy, so maybe that's part of it.
Maybe. I will say, so she's basically using this as an excuse to get the paperclip.
Yes.
I would have rather it be done in a not so obvious way because they have a stack of photos paperclipped together.
Right.
And then when they're distracted, we see a close up of her hand take the clip.
Yeah.
I would rather it be like, show me very clearly it's a stack of clipped photographs, put it down, she won't help me, focus on blah, 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 and then they go to leave and they pick it up and they all scatter.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, but for the purposes of like making sure everybody knows what we're doing, I think that's why we do this.
Yeah, I just sometimes I'm like, less can be more in this instance.
Yeah, I get you. I think I totally like the way you describe it. I just think it's like, for everybody, grandma, grandpa, everybody who's watching T2, we need them to see what's going on. So John tells the Terminator he can't do any killing,
and this is where I was like, we can move past some of this kid bullshit. Like, I don't need cutesy. I have my own Terminator.
Right. But that's like, as a child, I was like, wow, he's got his own Terminator.
Which I guess
I wish I had a Terminator.
Is the whole crux of the movie PG about the alien?
PG?
Psycho Gorman?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that is the whole premise of Psycho Gorman. Yeah.
So maybe I don't want to watch that movie.
Which is a movie with great special effects and very little else going for it.
Yeah, it happens.
So the T-1000 goes to kill Sarah Connor because, that Arnold basically says that's what he would do. And there's very good security of, oh, it's a cop. Just wave him inside. Like no checking of anything.
Well, he doesn't get inside. He comes
T-1000. He drives through the security gate. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, the security gate. Yeah.
Yeah. The security gate just like gives him the ole. He's like, oh, it's a cop car. I don't need you to stop.
I think it's because the cops were already there.
Yeah. But I found it funny. It's like, this guy's an hour late. Like, you don't even need to look at him and say, what are you here for? Just like, oh, no, I'll open the gate. It's a cop car. We get the grossest orderly. Well, second grossest orderly.
All movie orderlies are gross.
Yeah. I mean, the Kill Bill one is way grosser, but this guy's cut from the same cloth. He licks her face. And she's like, oh, I hope this guy gets killed violently. And I'm not sure he gets killed, but he definitely gets the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Which is good enough for me.
I also like that there's only one lock on her.
Yes.
I was like, she's like the most violent, aggressive patient you have, and you have one, like everything else is just straps and Velcro.
Yeah. I guess the idea is like, if you're strapped in like that, there's really not a lot you can do.
Yeah, but like, she escaped.
She did.
She's wily.
I mean, nobody expected her to have a paperclip. This is my least favorite T-1000 effect. We mentioned before he copies this.
It's silly.
Security guard. The T-1000 just can be the whole floor, which is like, I just find it to be nonsense. Like,
because it's something he never does again and has not done previously.
Right. Like, it would be easy for him to tap this guy on the shoulder and then turn into him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or just you only see the hand, right? Like, you see the hand tap him on the shoulder, and then when the guy turns around, it's from his perspective, and suddenly he's looking at himself.
Yeah.
Like, the floor, they totally did this because they were like, well, we can do this cool thing, and James Cameron was like, yep, that's cool, put it in the movie. So I get it. I get it, but it's just like, I don't like it. I don't care for this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, the one orderly is the Seinfeld baggage claim guy when they go to the airport and he puts, who's a jerk? Is it Elaine that's a jerk?
Elaine's a jerk.
He's like, Honolulu, and he puts the bag like on the wrong cart. He's the orderly here. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So Linda Hamilton beats the shit out of that orderly with a broom handle.
Yeah.
Maybe kills him.
Yeah, at least breaks his teeth, I think.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be liquid diet for a while.
Yeah.
Blended chicken breast. And then
the physicality of, so she has a broken broom handle. She hits him. It breaks some more. She like picks up the nightstick and twirls it, and she kind of like hops up on the
it's a
balls
little
of her
playful.
feet. It's playful but also like super graceful. Like it's just she moves like a dancer, and it just looks really cool. Like just really great movement on screen.
Yeah, she's like prancing. Prancing is a bad word.
But it is sort of a prance. Like it's you know what it is? It's more like a predator, like stalking prey, like a tiger that's circling in on a gazelle or an antelope down the plains. Like it's methodical but light.
Mm-hmm. So she just she takes his keys and like kicks ass all through the way, and then knocks out the one orderly with the Thorazine.
Yes.
And then breaks her doctor's hand, which always beautiful. Like this whole sequence is amazing.
Yeah.
But then
and he just starts being this sniveling little pissant, just like, you broke my arm. You broke my arm.
Yeah, him saying that, I'm like, hey, buddy, that was what she meant to do.
Yeah.
What do you think is what are you accomplishing with this?
Right. And this sequence is so good. I didn't want to take it from you. I just wanted to talk about the sniffler. So please go ahead.
So she says like there's 300 bones or whatever in the human body. And
215.
215. I only broke one, so you sit there. And she like puts her knee in his back as she picks up drain cleaner.
Yes.
The stuff that killed Heather Chandler and gets a syringe full of it. And then later, the syringe is in his. She hasn't pushed the plunger, but the syringe is fully in his neck.
Yep. There's like almost no chance there wasn't a little bit of this leaked into him.
Yeah, which like I guess a drop might not kill you.
I don't know.
The
needle, the tip of this needle is soaked in liquid plumber, which I would not want put into my neck.
No. So she walks. They keep trying to be like, think about this, Linda Hamilton, and she's like, she has. This is the plan.
Yes, exactly. I've been calculating this plan for 6 months.
Do you want to watch this guy's throat come out? Because that's what's going to happen if I push this plunger.
Exactly. I love Arnold and John Connor get to the front gate, and he's like, "You can't kill him," and Arnold shoots him
in the kneecaps.
Yeah, he hits the buzzer to open the thing. He'll live. It's like, again, right to your strengths. He can do 4 words at a time is pretty much the upper bound.
And honestly, they give him quite a bit of quote unquote. It's magic mumbo jumbo, but it's science.
Yeah.
Like polyalloy metallurgical or whatever.
Yeah. He does a couple info dumps.
Does well with that.
Yeah, he does. He does. It's like you pick your spots. You know, he does a couple like info dumps, and it is necessary that his character delivers some information.
Yeah.
Some really great stuff. This whole sequence with the fight in the hallway. So this is like classic lines. Come with me if you want to live.
Because they start to take her down. Because she sees the Terminator, and of course is like, ah.
yeah. Of course, he's the man who tried to kill me 8 years ago.
And so she's like, he's gonna kill us all, and he just like flicks them like they're nothing.
My favorite is the woman with the cast on her arm who like hits Arnold with it, and Arnold just kind of turns his head a little and resets it, and she has this like, it's very pro wrestling of just like, oh shit, like, oh, what have I done? And she just throws her down the hallway.
And it's again like, it's not it looks effortless, but not weightless.
Exactly. It's a human being with a wire on them, and they yanked her down the hallway with it.
Exactly.
So the T-1000 walking through the bars, and then the gun
such
gets
a great
stuck.
shot.
Really, really good. And then the second part of it where they all get in the elevator and he puts the hands in and then turns them into the hooks and pries the elevator open. So good. And again, this is the thing I talked about earlier where it's like, it's computer magic, you know, CGI, and then it's actually Robert Patrick with two big hooks that he's holding his arms inside of, and he's like physically manipulating, you know, metal, they're plastic probably, but like objects, like they're a real thing he's got in his hands. It blends it in such a way that it fools your brain so much more.
They work best in tandem.
Right. It fools your brain. So they steal a cop car
because you have to, and they keep shooting at him, and I'm like, guys, like. One clip, and if one whole clip doesn't take him down, just focus on driving.
Right. Well, he's catching up to them. That's the thing. Like he catches up to the cop car, and he breaks. You know, he gets on the back.
At the
and
end.
Breaks the window.
I'm talking about when they're doing this they're reversing through the spiral.
Oh, right.
They just
I assume that was
him.
just. I assume that was just like we gotta get the hell out of here. So like, you know, I also like John Connor's just reloading all these guns in the back seat because of the horrible childhood he's had, where it's like he's just lived with a bunch of survivalists.
And we get like kiddie family drama, and I'm like, that's not why I picked this tin up.
Yeah, exactly.
Of like, you're too important, Mom. I love you. Like, come on. So they find a garage to get to like patch each other up and all that.
Yeah. It's funny. It must be in the TV versions, but they have this line here where they ask Arnold if he can learn. He basically says, "Yeah, I'm like a learning computer." But in my memory, there's a scene, and I think I looked this up. It's like a deleted scene that may have been in some TV versions, so that's maybe where I saw it first. But I remember distinctly a scene where they like had to open up his head and pull this chip out and turn a switch on it and put it back. And they had this like, you know, scene
is that
with him
where they did the Linda Hamilton twin?
Her twin sister.
So that is a deleted scene that they might have put back in for TV.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it's in some TV versions potentially, like because they do that sometimes where they have to cut down. They'll like put something back to fill the time out.
Yeah.
And then the what we do get in this though is like sort of an info dump. He explains that he can heal, and like Linda Hamilton's pulling the bullets out of him. He stitches her up. But then he's standing guard in the vestibule, like where the cashier is, and it's an awesome, you know, it's the middle of the night, and then just we transition to it's dawn, and he hasn't moved an inch. It's just a cool, like, oh yeah, this is a robot man. He just stood there all night.
The tagline for this movie should be blue and smoky.
Yeah.
So much of this movie is just blue and smoky.
Yeah. So they hop in the family truckster from the original Vacation. And we go to Cactus Jack's for some snacks, and then we visit Linda Hamilton's pal, who has just an arsenal in his backyard.
Well, I think it's hers.
It is her arsenal, but it's him. He's like safe keeping it. Yeah.
Yeah. We get the classic draw your gun and then you son of a bitch.
Yep. I also like Arnold like starts to sort of explain how like Miles Dyson is the guy behind everything. And Linda Hamilton, this is the exact line in the movie and it made me chuckle. I want to know everything. What he looks like, where he lives, everything. I'm like, that's two things. What other information are you looking for? Because I'm pretty sure you just want to know what he looks like and
where he lives. Like those are
because that's it. Because you're gonna go shoot him. Mm-hmm. That's the extent of the information you want.
I love the way also There's this like
I know exactly what you're gonna say here.
I'm gonna say it's like a 9-month-old. It's
Yeah.
walking. It's a walking baby. So however old that is.
9 months to a year, I guess.
In overalls, and like they're all talking, and then all of a sudden the camera cuts to like the baby, and then Arnold looks down at it, and he just like grabs it by the back of the overalls and lifts it up in the air, like he's grabbing a kitten by the scruff of the neck.
And he looks so quizzically at it, like he knows conceptually that humans are babies, but he's clearly never seen one before.
Yeah.
and is delighted by seeing this.
It's so great.
So we go to the basement or little hidey hole where all the guns are. Arnold picks up the minigun, which is like normally mounted on a helicopter.
Yes.
It's like it must weigh like close to 1,000 pounds, which obviously he's a robot. But I wonder how they rigged this up for the human being, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to hold this very heavy prop, because it does fire blanks, so it's somewhat functional.
Yeah.
He also gets the grenade launcher, which is very vital to the rest of the movie and is part of the action figure on the shelf over my shoulder.
Apparently, I forgot about this. Apparently, 70% of this movie had to be 80-yard because of all the action.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
But it's not noticeable, which is amazing. And
Yeah.
all of the guns were bumped up. So handguns made the sound of shotguns, and then shotguns made the sound of cannons.
Oh.
And then the minigun, they were like, you couldn't hear it like individual like da-da-da-da-da-da.
Shots. Yeah, yeah.
So they had to slow it down and crank slow it down and then crank it up so that you'd hear the individual sounds.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm glad you did all this research. I'm learning things about this movie that I didn't know.
Yeah. I like to know these things.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I appreciate it.
It's also,
we talk about time loops, which is always like the problem of time travel movies. It's like
because
you can't.
He sent his own father back in time.
Right.
Like knowing that he would become his father.
Right.
Like he sent someone to fuck his mom.
Yes, he did for sure do that, and I don't think he tells. It's killing me that I can't remember Michael Bihn's character's name, but I don't think that he necessarily knows. Maybe. Anyway, I'm gonna double check, but I don't know that John Connor knows that when he sends him back. Kyle Reese is the name of the character.
How would he not know that though?
No, I'm sorry. I don't know if Kyle Reese knows that.
Got it. That
Like I don't
you're
know if
gonna
he
become
tells
my
him
dad.
like you have to fuck my mom or else I don't exist, because it feels like if that is truly the mission, I would like to see the short film that is that. Like the
show me this brief.
He's like, okay, sit down, Kyle. Look, there's something you got to know. If you don't have sex with my mom, all this falls apart. You have to seduce her. It has to be part of it. Mm-hmm. But the other really silly part here is John's talking to the Terminator, and he's like, yeah, I see my mom cry a lot. I think she still loves him. And I'm just like, hey, bud, it could be the weight of all of this.
Gestures wildly.
Yes. It's like, I don't think it needs to be that she's in love with a guy she had sex with once and spent like 3 days with before he died. I think perhaps it's the crushing weight of knowing the future and that everyone dies.
Knowing that Judgment Day is 5 years away.
Every person dies.
A ticking clock, you might say.
Yes, a ticking clock to the doom of all people. So she puts on some dope steampunk glasses, and then she does a voice.
It's very like, I'm like, what are we doing here?
And she does a voiceover about how she's like, I guess the Terminator could be the best dad. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
What is this?
I was like, guys, this is not what should be. This is not what's on the tin.
Right.
What are we doing?
Right. So we get the nightmare sequence where she dreams, herself with young John getting torched alive by the Judgment Day bombs.
I do love her in her 80s perm hair.
Yes. Yeah. They clearly, it's like, okay, Linda, we got to do this to your hair. And I'm sure the answer was, nope, you got to get a wig.
But it's like, this is not a judgment call, but like between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, Linda Hamilton's face is hardened.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not saying that she's like ugly, but it's just like a more severe hardened face.
Right.
And so this like goofy, curly 80s perm.
Yes.
On this like very hardened soldier woman is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Her face also, like, I think just leaned out because she got so muscular. Like, it's just a natural, extension of that.
Well, apparently this footage is the most accurate depiction of nuclear fallout. ever.
Yeah, I would buy that.
According to like actual scientists who worked on the atom bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing looking. It's miniatures and robots and everything burning and melting. It just looks incredible.
It's terrifying. And then, but
Yeah.
I don't think they meant to, or if they did, good on them. But it ends with kind of a joke that like she gets like melted away by the flame, and then all that's left is just her skeleton still holding onto the fence
and still screaming.
Yeah, like it's goofy, and I hope they meant it that way. To like,
I think it is purposeful because otherwise this is kind of heavy.
Yeah.
So she goes off to kill Dyson, and Edward Furlong and Arnold start chasing her. So she shoots at Miles. She like shoots up she misses with one shot because his kid hits him in the. It's actually really well set up. The kid playing with a remote control car so that Miles ducks down at the last second, breaks his monitor, and then she just goes full auto and just shoots his office to smithereens.
It's very. What was the Tom Cruise movie? Minority Report?
Maybe?
Where like they would arrest you for crimes you were going to commit.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't done it yet. Like
right.
Let's talk.
That's why
to
she
him.
can't. That's why she can't kill him. Like she thinks she's like Miss Hardened soldier, and then when it comes time to do this thing, which is kill somebody for something they haven't done yet, she can't do it. Like I think that's the weight of this. It's exactly what happens. Is she's crying and stuff. It's just like I thought I could do this, and I obviously can't. This is a real person.
As they're driving there, Arnold is like, killing this one person could literally prevent everything.
Right.
And then Furlong is like, you can't kill people. And I'm like, yes, in the real world, correct. However, in this movie world, one person dead to save 3+ billion lives.
Yeah. But also, like, when they talk to him, he immediately is like, you're right, we have to stop this. So it's like, if maybe you talk to him first, and if he's like, fuck you, then you shoot him.
Exactly.
But in this world, it's like, he like, you know, this scene is great where, I love John Connor. He's like, show them. And then he's like, come on, little buddy, show me your room. I want to see your toys. And then Arnold cuts his skin off and stuff. And then he wears the glove through the rest of the movie, which is like that. So they don't have to worry about it. They have him put the glove on. Yeah. It's like immediately after he's got a glove on, and it's just like, all right, we're just not going to bother. Like the continuity of this would be insane. So just, you're going to wear this glove. It's
also weird that only 3 billion people died. Cause isn't the total Earth population like 6+? Or is that now?
6 billion. It's 6 billion now, but I don't know what it was in 1992. I imagine it was like more like 4.
Gotcha. Okay, because I was like, half seems like not enough for Judgment Day.
Yeah, it would be half now, but I think it was way more than half then. I think population growth is pretty exponential, so it might have been higher. It might have been close to 3 or 4 then, and now it's 6. You know,
gotcha.
What I mean? It's 30 years later, so.
And then there's this weird feminist monologue that gets thrown in there.
And John's like rolling his eyes at it too, which is like, I've heard this before, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to take out of this?
That's exactly like Jimmy Cams. What do you want me to get out of this? Because the guy is talking about like, you know, we were creating all this stuff we'd never thought of, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, you want to talk about creation? Try carrying a human life for 9 months. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't necessarily disagree with her point, but also I don't see how it's relevant to the discussion we're currently having.
Like, yes, it is a fully interesting, valid point, but kind of out of left field at this point in this movie.
Yeah, I kind of want Miles Dyson to be like, okay, so what would you like me to do? Like, have a quick baby?
Fuck the metal arm? Like,
yeah,
what?
Exactly.
So they go to they have to destroy the lab.
Yeah, they break in, they get through security. We kind of talked about this already. John starts doing some hacking, and then all of the police arrive.
Well, so this is what confuses me. The silent alarm gets tripped, so they can't get into the vault to get the key to open the like big vault. Mm-hmm. And I was like, isn't Arnold a Terminator? Like,
yes.
Can't he rip it off the wall and open it up?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no way that even this like shitty early gen Terminator from 40 years into the future is weaker than our safe in 1992.
Or again, let him do R2-D2 with his thumb. Like, take that glove off, put your thumb in there, and then beep boop boop and open it up. It's fine.
Because they would use that in T3 and it's stupid.
Okay. Well, at this point we didn't know that would exist, so I love John's like, the cops are here. How many? All of them. And Arnold's like, I'll take care of them. And he goes with the minigun and the grenade launcher, and he starts just like decimating all the cars. He's blowing stuff up. He's
This fully would have killed someone.
Absolutely. 100% there's a casualty here at minimum. But I love that he scans and it's like casualties 0.0. I'm like, well, what's a tenth of a casualty? Is that is that a hand?
Does an arm get blown off?
Right. And it's
is that a fifth?
Is that what you calculate? Like, how does, you got 4 arms and a head and a torso. Like, how do you get to 10%? What's 10%?
Yeah, so it's all the police show up to protect the corporation because...
Of course they do.
Because of course.
Yeah.
Also, have you seen, Elon Musk did not learn from this movie. Because did you hear that announcement a few months ago about that robot?
Yeah, everything he does is basically Cyberdyne.
That they assure you won't get...
Yeah.
It's like, it's what is it? It's too... You could easily knock it over. They're like, something about it. They're like, don't worry. It won't be heavier than 100 pounds. So you can easily knock it over. And I was like, you shouldn't have to say that in your press release.
That's not comforting. It's going to kill me. So the cops burst in. They kill Miles Dyson. Like you said, he gets a really raw deal. But I like that like...
Well, he doesn't. No, he kills himself.
No, Miles dies and then he drops the thing.
No, they leave and he lets it go.
Miles dies and then he lets it go. That's what yes, my dude. The symbolism is he's holding it over that so that when his heart stops, his hand will fall because he stops.
I thought
breathing.
He just couldn't hold it anymore.
No, he's like, I can let you get away, but I'm dying. And he's like, because he's doing that breath thing of like, and then he stops breathing and then he falls.
I didn't realize that was him dying. I thought he just couldn't hold it up anymore.
No, the cops shoot him like 9 times with a machine gun, and he gets squibbed to death. And so that's when they come to talk to him.
Because he says, "I don't know how much longer I can hold this up," and he's like holding the thing over the detonator.
Yeah, so he's basically like, I'm using my dying breaths to make sure that people can get safe, but I'm destroying this thing.
Yeah, he deserves better.
He does, but he at least gets to go out as like the hero here, and
that's
hopefully paid a lot by the Dyson family.
Mm-hmm.
Because like,
not by the Dyson.
By the Cyberdyne Corporation. But like that's the thing
by Jacob Cyberdyne.
Yes, Elon Cyberdyne. But the other thing too is like to say that he got kidnapped. Him like letting the cops go free like I think would help corroborate that story. They're like he was dying and he made sure that we didn't get killed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a nice payout for the Dyson family at least.
I would hope so.
So this sets up the second finale of the movie. The T-1000 gets into a helicopter. Sorry for bullying you, but just now, by the way, for that commenter, since I just bullied you into saying that Miles, that was his death rattle. It was very important.
No, it makes sense. I just didn't. I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I was bullying.
I didn't take it as actual death. Yeah.
But anyway, the T-1000 like liquid metal Alex Max into the helicopter and then get out, and the guy leaps and which is pretty great. So he
grows extra arms.
Yes, that's what it's one of those things you don't notice until your second watch for most people. But he's got a full Goro. He's got like 4 arms going.
Yeah.
And I love that Arnold's like sort of watching Linda Hamilton have he's in a helicopter there in the police van. She like stacks a bunch of bulletproof vests over John and then over the back of the door to protect herself. She's trying to shoot down the helicopter. And eventually Arnold kind of looks back and he's like, oh, I'm just going to hit the brakes. And the helicopter crashes into the truck. Yeah.
This is another one that like, I wish this was a thing I could have experienced on a ride. Yes. Of a helicopter, like...
Yeah. Oh, I guess we forgot to say they get the police van because Arnold and Linda and John get trapped by cops who are tear gassing them, and Arnold just like cripples 12 cops. He shoots them all in the knee, and then there's a hilarious scene where he like drives in to he goes and gets the van, and he drives in to pick up Linda and John, and they're all like holding each other and doing like a 3-legged race with their limps like to get out of there, which is just delightfully stupid, but it's great. Anyway, yeah, so we're on the highway, big crashes. Then we get into second vehicles. Like we each get a second vehicle. One is this is very video gamey. It's like boss battle, stage 2. And so he's in the liquid nitrogen truck. They're in like a tiny house on wheels, it looks like.
I think it's a chicken coop.
It does kind of look like a chicken coop. I couldn't tell if there was a bed back there, but I thought there was maybe a bed back there. But yeah,
they drive to a spark factory.
That's right, our favorite climactic place. And then this is the
Although
one of those
I will say this one clearly looks more like an iron smelt
It's truly is a steel factory. It says that at the entrance.
Yeah, but it's because normally it's just literally Spark Factory, but this one there's actually the goopy liquid metal.
Yeah. So Arnold shoots the truck jackknifes, and he like disables the truck, and there's a really cool. It's very CGI-y, but it looks like a real person was involved, but maybe the film was sped up. But they like ride the truck sideways as it crashes, and then jump off the truck and roll away.
Oh yeah, I think it's a sped up. It looks like that unnatural.
I think it's
FPS.
sped up to cover the fact that it's a dummy. Is my guess.
Oh, maybe. I thought it was sped up to cover the fact that it was a person doing the safe version of this.
Yeah, it could either or. But the truck breaks and it spills all the liquid nitrogen, and the T-1000 is like slowly freezing, which looks so awesome. His like leg breaking off. Yeah, and then the arm breaking off. But stupid Arnold shoots him and he starts melting back together. I'm like, just leave him there. It's done.
Solid ice takes forever to melt.
Yeah.
Little bits and pieces are going to melt real fast.
Yeah. So this final action sequence, I think, is a little too long. Honestly, like,
yeah.
From the liquid metal part, which is amazing, to like the pool of mercury to like the final bit is like 5 minutes too long for me. But I mean, mostly pretty good stuff. There's a nice hand-to-hand scene with Arnold and the T-1000. It kind of has some cool
He does the great body reversal where he like he face plants into a wall, and then his face grows out the back of his head, and his body just like morphs backwards.
Yeah.
I'm not explaining it well at all, but it is amazing to look at.
He basically like turns inside out to face the other direction because he's made of liquid metal. Yeah, it's cool. That rules, obviously. Super cool. I love the bit with Arnold, like his arm he gets 127 hours and his arm goes off, and then he's fighting with one arm, and then the thing, the T-1000 stabs him through, and you think he's dead, but it's like rerouting auxiliary power, and he pulls the thing out of himself with the final grenade, and comes Deus Ex Machina literally to save the day.
Yeah. But so Linda puts John on a conveyor belt, and then the T-1000 stabs her, and it like tells her to call him, and I was like, you can do voices.
Yes.
Why do you need her to do anything?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, because later he just does it himself anyway. So it's like, why didn't you just kill her immediately? It makes no sense.
We got that great practical slice.
Yes. There's 3 really good T-1000 things here where like he splits, and it's sort of like something from The Thing with a lot of like noises and stuff. Sorry for anyone listening to this with headphones.
R.I.P. headphone users.
I'm so sorry. But it sounds cool as hell. The one thing I was like, oh, I'm surprised this isn't it, is he's like he's split and kind of like stumbling at the thing. And I first, even now having seen the movie and knowing how it ends, I was like, I'm surprised Linda Hamilton didn't tackle him here.
Yeah.
And
you would
like
think
go
she
into
would
the
have.
pit. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad she didn't, but it's like, I really kind of expected that to be what it was.
Yeah.
Or Arnold. Honestly, this whole scene at the end with like the crying and stuff is like,
I get it, but
it's fine.
on.
It's fine. But it's like, if Arnold had dove in and saved them both and then given the thumbs up as he like went under, I would have been fine with it.
I agree.
But it's fine. A little bit of
Linda
emotion's
Hamilton's
okay.
twin gets some work.
That's right. Yeah, the T-1000 mimics her, and then John, has to get out of the way as she shoots him with the gun. The T-1000, not John.
For some reason in my head, I remember that scene having a like choice element to it.
Yes.
Like John had to choose who
Which
was
one
mom.
is it? Yeah.
But it does not at all. Linda Hamilton just shoots her.
Yeah, he knows exactly which one is his mom because it's the one holding the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so John is so hard up for a father figure that this robot he's spent 48 hours with is like the closest thing he's ever had to one. So he's crying, and we get the
also
I know now
real
why
quick
you cry.
before we wrap it up. Why is it always that weird straw sucking noise for shape shifting in movies?
I do not know. It's really weird.
It's literally the same sound that they use for Mystique. That's just like.
Yeah, I don't get it. I know exactly
I like
what you're
it.
talking
It's
about.
fine, but like,
It's
why
weird.
is that the universal shape-shifting sound?
I also think that's the worst digital effect in this movie, where they all do the people like thrashing around in the water as the T-1000 melts.
Oh, that. But I know. I mean, and It's the sort of they use that sound for any time he like generally shifts. It's not necessarily just
No, I know
in
exactly
the
what you
pool.
mean. Yeah. Also, I thought for the first time ever, I thought about the fact that like all of these actors and actresses who like shot for some period of days, they were like, we also need you to come in and get in this tank of water and thrash around so we can use it for the end of the movie.
We're gonna light it red.
Yeah.
We're gonna put some milk in this water and we're gonna light it red orange.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, great. Now we need you to come back on Thursday and get in the milk puddle and splash around. Okay.
It was probably chunky too, so it would have So it was probably like corn syrup,
cornstarch
cottage cheese, and water.
Yeah. I just thought about that. It was like for the first time ever, like half a dozen people have to flop around at this crap.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Arnold tells John he understands why humans cry now, and then he has to have Linda lower him in because he can't self-terminate, and he goes down, gives the big thumbs up, and chung 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 chung, which you told me before is that
apparently
sound,
is a cast iron skillet,
which is awesome. I just love that detail.
Allegedly, I think that's what Wikipedia, what IMDb told me.
Yeah. In any case, it's awesome. A great little tidbit. But yeah, so that's Terminator 2, a really wonderful movie that you should totally watch if you haven't.
It's very solid.
Yeah, I don't love it the way I did when I was 12, but like you don't love anything the way you do when you're 12, when you're 35 or about to be.
Yeah.
So it's a great movie. It's a real, like I said, it's a real delineating like, oh, we're in the 90s. The game has changed. Here is the incredible
Firmly
work we
in the
can
90s.
do now. Yeah, but really a wonderful movie overall. Great performances. Everybody's performance is peak, and also this movie is tailored for everyone's individual abilities, so it's like you get the most out of everybody. Just really, really wonderful stuff. Thank you so much for is that your final thoughts? Yeah, you recommend
it's
this
great.
as well, it sounds like. I didn't meant to cut you
I
off.
recommend.
Yeah, same for me. Strong recommend. It's a long movie, but it's a long movie that doesn't
That's my only
kill you.
complaint. It is.
Yeah.
It could be easily 2 hours.
Yeah,
And I would be fine.
I think the last fight sequence is a little too long, but mostly I think this movie moves pretty aggressively. Pretty good clip. So this was Favorites-bruary, and honestly, next month is kind of the same. More favorites for us, or at least one of these is a dual favorite of ours. I think the other movie we're going to do will be a favorite of yours as well.
We'll find out.
Yeah. So we will be back in 2 weeks with our next movie. But first, let me tell you to go rate and review the show if you haven't. It only takes a minute, and we read them on the air. If you do it anywhere but iTunes, you can send it to us at dissectingthe80s@gmail.com. We'd love to read your review. We haven't gotten one in months, so if you're out there listening, you haven't reviewed the show, please go review the show. And also tell 2 friends about it if you like it, because that's the best way to learn about new stuff. We're on Twitter at Dissect the 80s. We'd love to talk to you there. And we're on Facebook at just Dissecting the 80s, not at. So check us out there. Listener Request Month is right around the corner. Keep an ear out and an eye on the social media channels. We'll be posting details there probably at the beginning of March. The first episode in March comes out March 7th, so it might be on social media before then. So keep an eye out there. It'll be up there soon. And next month, our first episode in March will be a movie we both hold near and dear, Evil Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think you can tell, I think the movie that goes with it is a great partner double feature. If you think you know what it is, send a tweet and see if you got it. And I'll if someone gets it, I'll reveal it early. So that's my little teaser. Nobody on Patreon. If you want to know really badly, you can sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/dissecting80s, because we give you several episodes in advance to help you plan and watch stuff. So thank you so much for listening to the show. I have been Tripp Lano.
I will always be Andrew Lano.
Until next time,
don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.